Imagine you walk into someone's home. Unannounced, no warning, no time to tidy up, and everything is exactly where it should be. The cushions aren't crooked. There's no stack of mail quietly rotting on the counter. The kitchen smells like nothing, which, if you think about it, is actually a smell. And you stand there, looking around, and your first thought isn't, "Wow, how lovely." Your first thought is, "Who are these people?" Because, let's be honest, most of us have that one drawer. You know the one. The drawer that contains 3 dead batteries, a takeout menu from 2019, some rubber bands, and something you genuinely cannot identify. We all have it. It's basically a human tradition at this point. So when you meet someone who doesn't have that drawer, who never has that drawer, your brain starts asking questions. Are they just more disciplined? Are they anxious? Are they hiding something emotionally? And here's what's fascinating. The psychology behind compulsive cleanliness isn't what most people assume it is. We tend to think people who keep immaculate homes are either control freaks or just really bored. But research tells a completely different story, and it's a much more human one. Let's start with something called cognitive load. Your brain, right now, is processing thousands of tiny signals from your environment. Every object out of place, every dish in the sink, every unfolded jacket on the chair. Each one sends a small, quiet message to your nervous system that says, "This is unfinished. This needs attention." Psychologists call this the Zeigarnik Effect. Our brains naturally fixate on incomplete tasks. They nag, they loop, they interrupt. Now imagine living inside a home where those signals are constantly present. For most people, it's background noise, annoying but manageable. But for people who always keep their space clean, those signals aren't background noise. They're loud, uncomfortably loud. Cleaning for them isn't a chore, it's relief. It's the brain finally getting to say, "Done, complete, rest now." There's a particular kind of person, and maybe you recognize yourself here, who cannot fully relax in a cluttered room. Not won't, cannot. Sit them on the most comfortable couch in the world, surrounded by mess, and their body will stay subtly tense. Their eyes will keep drifting. Part of their mind is always somewhere else, cataloging what needs to be fixed. This isn't neurosis. This is a nervous system that's just wired to be exquisitely sensitive to environmental disorder. And here is where it gets interesting. A landmark study from Princeton University found that visual clutter directly competes for your attention. It reduces your ability to focus and process information. People who instinctively keep their spaces clean may be unconsciously protecting their own mental bandwidth. They're not clean because they love cleaning. They're clean because their brain genuinely functions better that way. It's almost like an adaptive strategy the mind invented for itself. But there's another layer here, and this one is more emotional than neurological. Think about what a clean, ordered space actually communicates, not to guests, but to yourself. There's a concept in psychology called behavioral activation, the idea that our actions shape our emotional states just as much as our emotional states shape our actions. When you clean your space, you're not just organizing objects, you're sending a message to your own brain. I am in control. I am capable. Things can be managed. For many people who grew up in chaotic environments, unpredictable households, emotional instability, homes where disorder was the norm, keeping their own space clean as adults is an act of quiet power. It's not about the dishes, it's about sovereignty. It's about building a world, even a small one, 4 walls and a clean counter, where things make sense and stay where you put them. This is why a therapist will sometimes tell you that someone who deep cleans their apartment at 11 p.m. isn't avoiding sleep. They're processing. They're regulating. The act of cleaning becomes a physical expression of emotional control when inner chaos feels overwhelming. The hands move, the mind quiets, the mop hits the floor, and something inside says, "At least this I can fix." Now, is there a shadow side to this? Of course. when the need for cleanliness becomes rigid, when a single out-of-place object ruins your mood, when guests feel like they're walking through a museum, when you can't leave the house without checking every surface twice, that's when it crosses from adaptive into anxious. And that line is worth paying attention to. But for most people who live this way, it's not anxiety. It's aesthetic sensitivity. It's a form of self-expression. A clean home for them is the same thing a carefully chosen outfit is for someone else. It's how they communicate who they are, even when no one is watching, especially when no one is watching. Because the truest version of any person is the one that exists in private. There's actually research suggesting that people in cleaner environments make healthier food choices, sleep better, and report higher levels of general well-being. Not because cleanliness causes wellness exactly, but because both tend to come from the same internal state, a sense of agency, of intention, of being someone who tends to things rather than letting things drift. And maybe that's the most quietly profound thing about the person who always keeps their house clean. It's not about the house at all. It's about the relationship they've built with their own life, the belief, deep and practiced, that small things matter, that how you maintain your space is how you maintain yourself, that care, applied consistently and without an audience, is its own kind of dignity. So the next time you walk into someone's impossibly clean home, don't assume they're uptight. Don't assume they have too much time. Consider instead that you might be looking at someone who figured out early and quietly that how you treat your surroundings is how you treat yourself. And maybe, just maybe, that one drawer of yours is worth thinking about. If this made you see yourself or someone you know a little differently, drop a comment below. I'd genuinely love to know whether you're a clean space person or a proud defender of the chaos drawer. And if this kind of deep dive into everyday psychology is your thing, you already know what to do.